To the black sheep of the family. My cousin David raised his glass, wine sloshing over the rim. May she never change, it makes the rest of us look so much better. Laughter erupted around the long dining table of my parents' house. Annual family reunions were always like this, a chance for everyone to remind me how much I'd failed to live up to the Parker family name. I sipped my water quietly, watching my so-called successful relatives. David, VP of Sales at Parker Industries. My sister Catherine, Head of Marketing. My brother Michael, CFO. All of them working for the company my father had built. All of them convinced they were corporate royalty. Come on, Emma, my mother chided, her diamond bracelet catching the light. At least try to smile. It's just a joke. A joke. Like my entire life was to them. What they didn't know, what none of them knew, was that tomorrow morning Parker Industries would announce its new CEO. And the name on that announcement wouldn't be Parker. It would be Emma Mitchell. My name. Still working at that consulting firm? Aunt Margaret called down the table. What was it called again? Something small. Mitchell Consulting, I answered quietly. No need to mention that Mitchell Consulting was just the public face of Mitchell Global Enterprise, the corporation that had spent the last 3 years systematically acquiring controlling interest in Parker Industries through a complex web of shell companies. Consulting, my father scoffed from the head of the table. I offered you a real job at Parker Industries how many times? But no, you had to do your own thing. I thought about the board meeting scheduled for tomorrow morning. About the signatures already in place. About the fact that in less than 12 hours, I would own the company my family had worked for all their lives. Some people just aren't cut out for real business, Catherine smirked, adjusting her Cartier watch, a gift from Dad for her latest promotion. Thank God the rest of us know how to carry on the Parker legacy. The Parker legacy. If they only knew how close that legacy was to changing forever. Speaking of business, Michael chimed in, did anyone hear about the board meeting tomorrow? Apparently there's some big announcement. I hid my smile behind my water glass. Oh, there was an announcement, all right. Probably another bonus structure, David laughed. The company's been doing so well lately. Those mystery investors really turned things around. Those mystery investors. All subsidiaries of my company. All carefully orchestrated to position me for tomorrow's takeover. Emma wouldn't understand, Catherine waved her hand dismissively. She's never handled anything bigger than a local business account. In truth, I'd orchestrated some of the largest corporate takeovers in recent history. Mitchell Global Enterprise operated in 20 countries, owned controlling interest in dozens of major corporations, and was about to add Parker Industries to its portfolio. But they didn't need to know that. Not yet. Tell us, Emma, Aunt Margaret pressed, her voice dripping with false concern. What exactly do you do all day? Besides waste that business degree your father paid for. I thought about my office, not the modest consulting firm they thought I worked at, but my real office, taking up the top 3 floors of downtown's most prestigious building. About the teams of executives who answered to me, the billion-dollar deals I closed weekly, the empire I'd built while my family was busy mocking my choices. Oh, you know, I shrugged. Little of this, little of that. That's the problem with Emma, my father announced to the table. No ambition. No drive. The rest of you, he gestured to my siblings and cousins, you understood what it meant to be part of this family. To work for something bigger than yourselves. I gripped my water glass tighter, thinking about just how big my something had become. Remember when she turned down the VP position? Michael laughed. Dad was ready to hand her sales and marketing on a silver platter, and she chose to start some tiny consulting business instead. Biggest mistake of your life, my father pointed at me. You could have been somebody in this company. I'm not somebody in this company, Dad. I silently corrected him. I am this company. You just don't know it yet. Well, Catherine raised her glass. Here's to family success. Those of us who achieved it anyway. More laughter. More pointed looks in my direction. More self-congratulatory toasts about the mighty Parker family and their corporate achievements. I checked my watch. 15 hours until the announcement. 15 hours until they learned that while they were busy running Dad's company, I'd been busy buying it. Don't look so glum, Emma, David called out. Not everyone can be a success story. Every family needs its black sheep. True, I said, standing up. And every company needs its CEO. Speaking of which, isn't there some big announcement at Parker Industries tomorrow? The table went quiet. My father's eyes narrowed. How did you know about that? Michael demanded. That's confidential information. I picked up my purse, designer but understated like everything else I owned. No flash, no show, nothing to tip them off about who I really was. Oh, I hear things, I smiled. Should be an interesting morning. What's that supposed to mean? Catherine stood up, her face flushed. What do you know? Just that change is coming, I said softly. Big change. Are you threatening us? David's voice rose. Because if you think dash. Not threatening, I cut him off. Just making an observation. After all, what would the black sheep know about corporate matters? My father pushed back from the table. Emma, if you've heard something about tomorrow's announcement dash. Good night, everyone, I cut him off. Thanks for dinner. And the laughs. Enjoy your evening. I walked out, leaving them buzzing with speculation. In my car, expensive but not flashy like everything else in my carefully constructed facade, I picked up my phone. Everything ready for tomorrow? I asked my assistant. Yes, Ms. Mitchell. The press release is prepared, security has been briefed, and the new signage is ready to be unveiled. The board members are all confirmed for the 9 a.m. meeting. And my family's employee files? All here. Would you like me to review the changes? I thought about their smug faces, their condescending laughs, their years of treating me like I was nothing. No need, I said. I know exactly what changes to make. I drove home to my penthouse, not the modest apartment they thought I lived in, but the entire top floor of the city's most exclusive building. Standing at my floor-to-ceiling windows, I could see the Parker Industries building, still lit up as my family members worked late, unaware that tomorrow they'd be working for me. My phone buzzed, a text from Catherine. If you know something about tomorrow's announcement, you better tell us. This is family business. I smiled, thinking about how right she was. This was family business. Just not the family she thought. Tomorrow, they'd learn exactly what the black sheep had been doing while they were busy laughing at her. Tomorrow, they'd discover that success doesn't always wear a Parker name tag. Tomorrow, they'd find out who really owned their paychecks. I arrived at Parker Industries at 8:30 a.m., taking my private elevator to the executive floor that none of my family knew existed. Through the one-way glass, I watched them arrive one by one, each strutting in like they owned the place. Catherine, checking her makeup in her compact mirror, probably rehearsing another presentation she'd take credit for while her team did all the work. Michael, clutching his designer briefcase, no doubt containing the financial reports I'd already memorized. David, glad-handing security guards who now worked for me. My father arrived last as always, parking in his reserved spot with the chairman placard. That would be changing today too. Ms. Mitchell, my assistant, appeared with my morning coffee. The board is assembled in the main conference room. Your family is gathering in their usual morning meeting space. I checked my watch, 8:55 a.m. Let's give them 5 minutes to settle in. Are the new security passes ready? Yes. And the old ones have been deactivated as of 2 minutes ago. Right on cue, my phone buzzed. A text from Catherine. My pass isn't working. Neither is anyone else's. What's going on? I smiled, remembering her toast from last night. Here's to family success indeed. At exactly 9 a.m. I pressed the intercom button. Please escort the Parker family to the main conference room. I watched through the security feeds as confusion spread across their faces when security guards, my security guards, led them to the boardroom. Their protests died as they entered, seeing the assembled board members sitting quietly, documents laid out before them. What is this? My father demanded. I didn't call a board meeting. No, I said, finally stepping into view. I did. The look on their faces was worth every second of the past 10 years. Emma. Catherine's voice cracked. What are you doing here? Isn't it obvious? I smiled, taking my seat at the head of the table. I'm starting my first day as CEO. The room erupted in chaos. My father's face turned purple. Michael started shouting about family betrayal. David lunged forward, only to be stopped by security. This is impossible, my father finally managed. I own this company. Not anymore. I nodded to my assistant, who began distributing folders. Mitchell Global Enterprise has owned controlling interest in Parker Industries for the past 3 years. As of this morning, we've acquired the remaining shares. The board has already approved the transition. Mitchell Global. Catherine's eyes widened as she finally made the connection. Your consulting firm was just a cover, I finished for her. My real company, Mitchell Global Enterprise, operates in 20 countries. We specialize in corporate acquisitions. Parker Industries is just the latest addition to our portfolio. You can't do this, Michael sputtered. We're family. Family. I laughed softly. Last night you called me the black sheep. The family failure. How did Dad put it? No ambition, no drive? The board members shifted uncomfortably. Most of them had been working with me secretly for months, knowing this day was coming. While you were all busy running Dad's company, I continued, I was building something much bigger. Something that could buy Parker Industries 10 times over. Why? My father whispered. Why do this? Because you never saw me as worthy of this company. So I built my own. And now. I gestured to the documents before them. I own yours too. We'll fight this, David threatened. We'll take legal action. Feel free. I smiled. Though you might want to run that by your new employer first. Oh wait, that's me. Catherine started crying, her mascara running. You planned this all along. No, Catherine. You all planned this. Every time you mocked my choices. Every time you called me a failure. Every time you toasted to real success. I stood up, straightening my jacket. You taught me exactly who you thought I was. Now let me teach you who I really am. I pressed a button and the screens around the room lit up with their new employment contracts. You have a choice. You can clear out your offices by noon, or you can stay on as regular employees. No executive titles. No special treatment. Just regular jobs with regular salaries. Regular salaries? Michael looked like he might faint. But my mortgage, my cars. Should have saved some of those bonuses, I said quietly. Instead of buying new Rolexes every quarter. My father stood up slowly, his face ashen. Please. This company is my life's work. I corrected him. Was your life's work. Now it's mine. Just like all those other companies you never knew I owned. The ones you read about in the business papers but never connected to your black sheep daughter. One by one, I watched them realize the full scope of what had happened. Their perfect world, their corporate kingdom, their family legacy, all of it now belonged to the daughter they'd dismissed for so long. Security will escort you to your offices, I announced. You have until noon to decide if you're staying on as regular employees. Oh, and Catherine. I smiled at my sister's tear-stained face. The company dress code doesn't allow Cartier watches. Bit too flashy for regular staff. They filed out in shock, leaving me alone with the board. One member spoke up. That was intense. That was necessary, I replied. Now shall we discuss the real business of the day? Our Asian expansion plans won't execute themselves. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of actual corporate leadership, the kind my family had only played at while I built a real empire. By noon, security reported that all their offices had been cleared out. None of them had taken the offer of regular employment. My phone had been buzzing non-stop. Mom, how could you do this to your family? Catherine, you've ruined everything. Michael, you'll regret this. David, this isn't over. I left them all unread. Instead, I stood at my father's former window, my window now, looking out at the city where I secretly owned more buildings than they could imagine. My assistant appeared with a stack of papers. Your family is giving interviews to the business press, calling it a hostile takeover. Let them, I smiled. Every article will have to mention that Parker Industries is now owned by Mitchell Global Enterprise. Every story will have to explain how they never saw it coming. How the black sheep built something bigger than they could imagine. And the company Christmas party they were planning? Cancel it. Schedule a Mitchell Global corporate retreat instead. Somewhere exotic. I paused. Send them all invitations. Regular employee rate, of course. That evening I finally read the flood of family messages. The accusations of betrayal. The threats of legal action. The reminders of family loyalty. I typed a single response, sending it to all of them. To the black sheep of the family, may she never change. After all, she owns your paychecks now. Then I turned back to running my empire, all of my empires, knowing that somewhere in the city, my family was finally learning what real success looked like. Sometimes being the black sheep isn't about failing to fit in. Sometimes it's about being the wolf they never saw coming.